Good day and welcome back to the Seatown Podcast, where I interview Seattle area business owners, entrepreneurs, and community personalities. Today we have on Brandon, who's the general manager of Coastline Burgers, one of my family's favorite local burger joints. Enjoy the interview. So just kind of start off first, I'd like to thank you for the time to come on the podcast and talk about Coastline Burgers. I guess just briefly, kind of tell me about Coastline, how it got started, and your role there.
It started January 2015 with kind of a couple goals in mind. Wanted to make buns in-house with no preservatives, no flavors, anything like that from our own recipes. It started out just with the sweet buns that the burgers come on. And then it translated into what we currently have, which is we have honey whole wheat that we make in-house, and we have the sweet buns that we make in-house. And then we also make all of the bread for the Copper Coin up the road in the Admiral District there.
Okay.
And it all comes from one guy, our baker Roberto, who's been making buns for 17 years. And he's just a great guy, the hardest working person I've ever met. Mm-hmm. So that was goal number one, was to make our own buns, and goal number two was to use the highest quality beef that we could find with quality ingredients, all made from scratch. So we serve grass-fed, non-GMO beef. We press our own patties. We do that every day. And we're going through some really good distributors to try and get, some more local and organic produce from some folks at Charlie's who work really hard to try and get us the best prices on things so that we can give that to the customers. And going into it, doing everything from scratch, doing everything, a little more local and a little more from hand or by hand. We thought that we would set ourselves apart, one, by our price, two, by our speed and our quality. We try and walk that line between offering a high-end product, but at more fast food price point and time. Because ideally, in a perfect world, you'd put your order in and your burger would be ready in about 7 minutes. Mm-hmm. Honestly, we've become busy enough now that has kind of, gone up towards 8 or 9, sometimes 10 minutes. West Seattle has responded really well to, having a decent burger joint that does all of that stuff right there in that tiny little building. Mm-hmm. So we're really proud of, starting from just having this idea and kind of building from that. So. And a good part of almost all of that effort came from Aaron and Bowman. Like I said, I didn't actually become general manager till 3 months in, and they kind of had the vision and the energy to put into starting it. And then by the time I jumped in, I was there, to try and facilitate smoothing out processes and making the everything just run that little bit more smoothly. So, yeah.
The people I'm kind of trying to have on the podcast, first are, places that I enjoy. My son has a lot of food sensitivities and allergies and stuff. So, we love going there, because I like the buns. Him and my wife can't eat any gluten, which is part of the reason we go there, because I know you guys do your fries in a separate fryer than onion rings and stuff, so he can eat those and know they're going to be gluten-free. But the quality definitely shows there. We love the burgers there. So
from the beginning we knew that having a gluten intolerance was going to be a thing that we were going to have to work around, because we were going to offer gluten-free buns, and we were making our own onion. We still are making our own onion rings from scratch. So having two fryers, we made the obvious choice, I think, of having one for fries and one for onion rings. Right. That way we could actually still have the fries for those that wanted had the sensitivity to gluten. So my grandfather-in-law is a fairly stoic man. and has complimented me very few times. And when he came to visit us one day, he said that the onion rings were the greatest things he'd ever had. So
that's awesome. Yeah, they're quite tasty. It seems like it's been well received. I mean, you guys are always busy. Has the feedback been pretty good?
For the most part, yeah. Like I said, because it's a new company, we're still trying to figure out. Every time something comes up, we have to figure out a new solution for those. Mm-hmm. So we actually made our own burger patty press from scratch. It's kind of a Frankenstein contraption of the handle of a fry cutter and the base of tomato dicer, and made entirely from Brandon Bowman's vision of what we needed and what we had on hand, because we couldn't find anything in the market that would work for the purposes that we needed it for. I think that every time we have these little hiccups, the public responds really well to like the changes that we've made, making adding the whole wheat buns to the menu, adding the couple burgers that we've added to the menu, the small changes that we've made to try and streamline our ordering process. So hopefully at this point everything's kind of ironed out, and we can just continue to serve the best burgers in West Seattle. So
first starting up, what were some of the biggest challenges to figure out and iron out?
Well, a couple of the biggest ones obviously came from the two things that we definitely like to highlight. Was the buns, trying to set that process up from scratch. The building had originally or previously been shoe fly pie, so it came with the ovens in the back. So when we decided to incorporate that, we kind of had a stepping stone for making our own buns. So it was kind of piecing that together before we could even consider, how many buns we were going to have to make in a week.
Right.
And then with the patties, trying to figure out where we were going to find the highest quality beef, how it was going to come in, forming and pressing those patties every day, and figuring out how to fit that into our grand scheme of prepping everything from scratch. So every little change actually sends a couple ripples through the back end of the store, but hopefully none of that is felt up front, ideally.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the buns being made from scratch and stuff. You kind of got me curious. How does that usually work with estimating how much you're going to need? I mean, is the dough made in the morning and then baked as needed, or kind of made throughout the day? Or
well, our baker Roberto has been great about forecasting our needs. He's been in this business, like I said, for 17 years. So as we continually increase our business, he has been great about kind of making enough of a cushion that we've never had an issue where we've run out of fresh buns. So luckily, we haven't ever had like a 500 burger jump from week to week. It's just been like a steady increase that's fairly easy to forecast. So then each day he comes in and makes the dough from scratch, proofs them in the back, bakes them, and then we slice them and bag them. So we continually have fresh buns, fresh honey bun, or the sweet buns and the honey whole wheat buns in store, all because of that guy. So
what would you say is the most important thing about what you do at Coastline?
Myself?
Sure. Or maybe yourself and the business itself.
Well, one of the reason that when they offered me the general manager position, the reason that I took it was because of the entire picture of what Coastline does, being able to tell everybody that walks through that front door, we make the buns here, we press the patties, I can tell you, which produce we have is organic, and making everything from scratch, making our own chocolate syrup, our own peanut butter, all of that stuff. So I think that kind of sets us apart. Yeah, so I think that's probably that's probably the most important thing that we do, is that accountability with the food, and being able to offer it at a fairly decent price point, and to give it to you in a short enough time period that you can stop in on your lunch and have a decent burger, and then still have time after that to still have an actual break in your lunch period. So I think that's a pretty big draw for Coastline, is being able to come in and get a decent meal for your family and leave full, happy, and in a fairly decent amount of time. So
right. Would you say that's what Coastline Burgers is kind of known for?
But yeah, we are definitely known for making things from scratch, making them quickly, and being able to have accountability for our products. So we've gotten a lot of positive feedback on the feel. Like, it just feels very comfortable to be there.
Yeah.
Which again is entirely on Brandon and Aaron for setting the store up that way.
What would you say is your favorite thing that you do at the store? Your favorite part of the process, of your role?
My favorite part of the process is actually still being able to serve the customers. I really like the fact that Coastline continues to get more and more busy, because the more busy we get, the better mood I'm in. Not just because I'm the general manager and I want the store to do well, but I like to think that I thrive in that type of environment where I have to make those decisions and make sure that things are running smoothly, the customers are happy, the product's great. So I definitely think that that's my favorite part of it, is making sure that everything's just going according to plan, or as close to as planned as possible.
So I mean, so being a year in, a little over a year in, it looks like the business is doing really well. Is this kind of where you guys foresaw things being, and where do you foresee the future going with Coastline Burgers?
I think that we are doing really well. I think that we are probably much busier than we anticipated being right now, but I do think that we could probably handle more. We're definitely excited about going into the summer, because last summer was really the first time that we had a large jump in business. The summer months are definitely when people get out and do things, and do a lot more dining out. And of course, there are definitely the summer events that happen in the junction that draw a lot of business. Right. So we're looking forward to running full service through all of those events.
Sure. Well, the outside seating area is nice. I mean, outside seating for restaurants in West Seattle is a premium,
Yeah, and it seems like a lot more places are trying to find room for that outdoor seating. The other thing that we've heard a lot of feedback on is the parking lot is a lot of draw for people to stop in, because they can grab stuff on their way home from work. They can place the order, leave from work, pick it up, and then just head home with it. So we've got that outdoor seating, which is great for the summer. We've got the parking lot for the folks that are on the run and busy. And we just launched a website that has a lot of information on Coastline, and it actually links up to our online ordering, and we'll be launching an app for Coastline Burgers as well.
Oh, very cool. What's the since you brought it up, what's the website that you guys
just coastlineburgers.com.
Okay.
It'll have it's still in its infancy, honestly, but it does have our menu on there. We'll be offering online orders, so you can just place your order online and then pay for it, and then just stop in, pick it up. So if you are on your way home grabbing food, it's really facilitates it, so you don't have to wait in line and have to pay and everything. It's already all done. You can just swing in and grab your food and head out. Some of the stuff that you don't really get to see when you come in and get our awesome burgers is that we really do try and have a great place to work. We really do try and offer competitive wages, flexible schedule, and we've had a lot of success hiring awesome people. It really is because of the crew that the restaurant runs as well and as smoothly as it does. Luckily, I don't have to hire a lot of people because people tend to not leave Coastline, which I think speaks volumes for what we're trying to do there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
My understanding is that there's an affiliation with Copper Coin, or Aaron also owns that, or what's that connection there?
Yeah, Aaron owns the Copper Coin, and he also owns Coastline Burgers, obviously. So we bake their buns. Roberto bakes their buns, and we actually both have their exclusive house beer on tap, the Coin Copper Ale, which is brewed through Lowercase, which is a local company as well. So, yep.
Which is very tasty.
Yeah.
It's usually my choice of beverage when I come in. You say you're your in-laws right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I do to get away from the grind of the cities. They live out in the woods, and people think I'm nuts, but I come out here and I chop wood on my weekends.
Hey, we all need a way to unwind.
It helps me center to go back to run a restaurant. So.
Sure. Well, that wraps up this interview on the Seatown Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't checked out Coastline Burgers, I highly recommend it. Maybe you can check them out online and try out their new online ordering and stop by on your way home from work. Don't forget to subscribe to the Seatown Podcast on iTunes and leave me a review. And if you have any suggestions or feedback for me or would like to be a guest on my podcast, you can email me at christianharris@ctown.com. That's c-town.com. See you next week.